Hello and welcome to New Filmmakers Los Angeles in partnership with Movie Maker magazine. My name is Danny DeLillo. We're here at the South Park Center and I'm delighted to be joined with Kacy with Last First Kiss. Let's take a little clip.
So, you're Nina?
No, sorry, wrong girl.
Oh my God, I'm sorry. This is my booth.
Oh my God, I'm kidding. Come on. Do you normally sit on this side?
I do, actually. How did you know that?
Here you go on a lot of these.
Who said that? That is both wildly accurate and yet totally inappropriate.
Sounds like you need to try something different.
I don't like different. Besides, that side of the booth has a much better view.
I agree.
Kacy, welcome to the New Filmmakers LA family. I am so glad you're part of our community now, seriously. I love you and I love your film. That's all I've got to say.
Great, wonderful interview. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody.
No, seriously, thank you for bringing this. I've got so many questions, but for those that haven't seen it, tell us a brief synopsis.
I mean, a brief synopsis is Tony is a hopeless romantic and she is like just giving up on love.
Yeah.
And she's just a serial dater and it's always a first date, never a second. And she goes out one night and meets Nina and is very hopeful that this is going to be her last first kiss. And Nina's in town for just one night. So she just builds up the courage to find the perfect song for what would be their potentially first last kiss, good or bad.
I really love this story. I love the setting. I love the characters that you created. I just was like, and I'm just like, I was just in so much hope for what was going on. Like really, really. Where did this story, where did the light bulb go off? Where did this story turn into a film?
So I wrote the first draft of this on my iPhone because I wrote it on my notes
Wow.
pad. As a trans person, really difficult to find love. And we don't talk about that enough. And as a filmmaker, you're a world builder. And I was like, with so much pain and loss and death in the world, what would the world look like if a trans person just fell in love? And if it was easy.
Yeah.
Like easy, like John Hughes movie Easy. And so that became the kernel that grew into, could I take that same 80s template? Because they make everything look... The difference, like the issue that they have to overcome in a lot of 80s movies because everybody is white, cis, and straight is class.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, well, what if it wasn't class? What if there was something else that they had to overcome, but we didn't talk about it, right? It was just a different focus because I'm big on, I don't believe in cancel culture. I understand why it exists, but I don't want to cancel John Hughes movies. They were wonderful, right? A lot of them.
Yeah.
How can we correct them? How can we refocus the lens on a different community by still using the same hard and template and color schemes and ideas of taking, the small parts of life, like trying to find a date for the prom, and making it the biggest thing in their world, which is what those movies were so famous for, right? They took teenage problems and made them adult. And I was just like, how do I make this movie about my community in a way that's still loving and kind, but also nostalgic? And so that's what I did. I also originally wrote it with me as the lead, and then I chickened out.
Oh, you did?
I did.
But I hope you're going to come and act for us sometime soon, Kacy.
I mean,
I
I did a short film last year called Musings where I'm the lead. I'm a writer and I break up with Thalia, the Greek muse of comedy.
Oh my goodness, amazing. I have to see that one too, my goodness. Well, listen, firstly, thank you for sharing all of that. I mean, there's so much, truth and understanding, and I think it takes a very special kind of person to always say, like, listen, I don't want to cancel you. I want you to reform and learn from the experience and let's grow together kind of thing. I mean, that's wonderful, honestly. And, we don't see it many experiences from a trans person in this love context. And I was watching this film with such delight because, like you said, there wasn't this where it was about something. It was just two people there together. And I love that. And so tell me a little bit how you created your characters, how you work as a director with your actors. Like, what was that experience like? By the way, I love your whole ensemble. They're amazing.
Thank you. I agree. I joined, as a writer-director, I always suggest joining an acting class because you never quite know what you're asking someone to do until you try to do it. And acting is extremely difficult.
Yeah.
Very difficult. So I joined Act Now, which I believe is the only one of its kind. It's a trans acting course, a queer trans acting course in Los Angeles. And I met all of these actors. And what I realized very quickly is that because of money and a lack of resources, we don't really get to tell our own stories. And so I was like, none of you have reels. I need a director's reel and a writer's reel. If we combine forces, and I outside of this, I've worked at Sony Pictures for 17 years in like corporate world. I was like, if I bring the resources to create a space for all of us, then rising tides raise all boats. And so that's what I did. So I grabbed friends from my acting class and I was like, who wants footage? Who wants to do this? And that's how I put it together. And then Carlina, who plays July, she's the only actor, she's the only actual actor. What? And I was like, will you please be our anchor? Yeah. And not only was she our anchor, she was also our choreographer because she's an incredible dancer. She's danced behind Prince and Bieber and everybody.
Amazing.
And so she did. So that's how we got together. So it was sort of like a miniature, not brat pack because all of us were just doing something really for the first time together. Yeah. They were trusting me as a first-time writer, as a first-time director, meaning first-time director as in like having a crew. Yeah. I've directed other things like on my phone by myself where you do it all in your basement. But this was the first time really commanding a crew. And they gave me, it was our first.
I can't believe it was your first film, honestly. Like, I wouldn't have watched that thinking that, you've done about 30 films, honestly. And because I just really love your aesthetic that you created. Like, I love the look of the film. I love the color palette that you used. I just really enjoyed that. And I'm just curious for you personally, making your film, it's obviously special being your first one. How do you want the film to look and feel?
So this part was really important because I start with sound. When you make a film about the 80s, you're talking about Miami Vice, you're talking about music, and I knew that we needed a song that really hit of like, if someone played this song, it would change your mind. And if a girl held up a phone and played Push It by Salt and Pepper, I would do anything, anything for her, whatever she wanted me to do. And so I first built it out by the song, and I used the tropes of the 80s, right? I needed the rules of the game were this. We never say trans, we never say gay, we never say queer in any of the films, right? Because that would make it too specific. We also, there's not a pride flag in the whole bar. The only way that you would know, because you couldn't, like if this is a traditional, like sort of like 80s place, you couldn't have a pride flag because that would be too on the nose. But there is a bouncer in a bar, which means it has to be protected. And July is very protective over that space. Also, in 80s movies, graffiti always indicated the outsiders. And so I just use the rules in 80s movies and the codes and signifiers and put them in the places they needed to be. So even though it's a modern film because we have iPhones, it still has the same codes and signifiers of those traditional movies.
Oh, you got it on point, Kacy. I love it.
If you're going to do something intentionally, you have to do it all the way. And the production designer was amazing. Our colorist at Picture Shop, Freddie, Freddie just obsessively like would warm the lights, just really.
It was exquisite to watch, especially on a big screen, I mean, my goodness, not to mention Push It. I can't, I'm Salt and Pepper, love.
Steven cleared that song. Steven cleared all the music for us.
It's amazing.
Amazing. Steven is an incredible music supervisor. Just really just gave us the gift of, being able to put something like that in a movie. And also Alex, who is our sound host, his wife is a singer from Cuba, and she's the one who did all the music, all the covers. So the L7 cover, Pretend You Were Dead, and also the Cure cover, In Between Days. It's a Latinx bar, and I needed the singer to have a Spanish accent. And so she did them for us. It was
Where
amazing.
was the bar, by the way?
The bar is a little place called Permanent Records.
Oh.
And then Electric Pony is the exterior, that beautiful graffiti wall.
Yes, gorgeous.
Yes,
Yeah.
and Layla and Jen are incredible. Please, 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 whatever you do, shoot Electric Pony as much as possible. They're wonderful.
Goodness.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many, and I love how you mix this, 80s experience and feel with incredible music, and then mixed it in like this modern day experience like I've never seen this before, and it's amazing. And and it was interesting because the whole idea is that we are trying to we're obviously in a position where we're showcasing our pride a lot more than we ever have done in the universe, right? But at the same time, it did feel like nice to kind of just accept these characters as they are without feeling they've got to be anything other than their authentic selves. And that was just beautiful to see too, Thank you. I want to say, obviously, it's special because being like the first film you put out there, we're so honored to have it at New Filmmakers LA, but then having it part of like an entire LGBTQ plus day, how was that experience for you?
It's wonderful because, being trans is an identity, right? And being queer or gay or lesbian is a sexual orientation.
Yes.
And so what's odd is that I'm functionally a straight guy, and I'm part of like a queer, and I made a lesbian film. And it was just like it's a lot of questions. Yes. Like a lot of people who do not read me as trans are like, why did you make a film about lesbians? And I'm like, well, how much time do you have? There's a lot lived experience versus this. It really feels like a full, complete story. Mm-hmm. Right? To have this. Now, one of the hardest things about having this film be programmed in lots of other festivals, because it hasn't really been in other festivals, people have a really hard time placing trans content that is not about sadness or death or like that experience. So the fact that I get to put Last First Kiss in next to something like Come Clean and next to something like Skunk is like incredible, because it's the breadth and width of like the full storytelling experience, where it's not just about being bad. You just like these are our stories. Yeah, I love that you said that, because it's really important for us at New Filmmakers, and I think the avenue we have to move in our genres is by not having limitations on what we see, and the expansion of storytelling within genres, communities, etc. And so, no, absolutely, it's very important that we, collaborate these amazing stories and put them up against each other, and celebrate each other's story mindsets as well. I want you to make more films, Kacy. What is next for you? Oh gosh, so a lot. I waited a really long time to come out as trans. I'm only 3 years old in trans years. Oh my goodness, congratulations. I know, thank you very much. And I'm actually only like 4 years old in filmmaking years. Wow, so what a journey you've been over the last few years. My goodness. I've been busy. Yes. The biggest thing that I need is, so I have everything that I need from a director's standpoint in terms of my reel, everything from a writer's reel, but like, it's about correction history. So I have a feature called 79, and the tagline is, it's the white dance movie to end all white dance movies. Because whenever you go into a club, the straight white guy is oftentimes not the best dancer on the dance floor. That's true. But when you watch any movie about dancing, who's the dancer? Who's the best dancer? Right. So you got to fix that. So it's a series of that. I have a short proof of concept for a series called Every Day is Sunday. And it's about a middle-aged trans guy who he lost and kind of missed out on his athletic career. And so his wife convinces him to coach a recreational football team in a queer league. And their nemesis are called the Sissies, which is So it's a series of that, of just like, I firmly believe that our biggest hurdle in sort of myth making, so movies make myths, right? And at some point in time, Francois Truffaut said movies have to pierce that illusion and tell the truth, like depict the real. One of the things that movies continually do over and over again is they've told this long-standing myth about gender that needs a correction, because it causes a lot of damage. I love When Harry Met Sally. It's one of my favorite movies. But the myth that men and women cannot be friends is very dangerous. Very dangerous. And we need a movie to correct that.
Oh, I'm glad you're a filmmaker. Yeah. So, like, seriously, like, you know, whatever world you take us, Kacy, we are ready for it. Like, I want to go all the places that you're creating for us. And, you know, and seriously, like, to do this and have these visions and really important articulation of driving our cinematic experience storytelling forward. Thank you for what you're putting out there and doing. And I'm ready for all your next projects, okay?
So I'm just waiting for the bank.
Yes. So all the banks, listen.
Yeah.
Please support Kacy in all the projects because Kacy deserves it, and you're telling great stories. So thank you so much. But thank you so much for your film. We're looking forward to the next projects. Keep bringing them to us, okay?
You got them.
All right. Much love, Kacy, everybody.